ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, it's another great week in the Burleson area. I got the mayor on today. We're going to talk about the budget. We're going to talk about the state. We're going to talk about taxes. You know, the Dallas paper had a lot of interesting articles that were locally related about what other communities are doing about their budget issues and whatever. And we'll talk about what we're doing. And also just a lot's going on. So how you been?
Whooped.
You seem a little tired today. It just
it's okay. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, a lot of partying this weekend. I know that.
Yeah,
that Church of Christ crowd can get pretty wild. You know,
we'll have that discussion when I get to church.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we were just visiting beforehand about what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the budget because it's been approved now, right? Or is it?
Yes, we'll finalize it tonight.
That's what I thought.
All the readings, there's 3 readings, and this will be the third one tonight, and we'll vote on it and finalize it.
But you're not going to make substantial changes tonight.
No, it's pretty well said and done. We've been working on this budget since March.
Yeah, so somebody comes up tonight and starts raising all sorts of cane about
last year we had somebody get up and start calling. Last year.
Yeah, right.
It was last year, stand up and start calling us thieves and everything else. We don't get anything out of this.
Thieves. Good grief.
We love being chewed out, so we this is the reason we do things.
Do you ever get tempted to right in the middle of one of those harangues go, sit down and shut up? But you can't really do that, can you?
It's not worth the fight.
No. Just let them vent their spleen and get it out of their system.
Well, say citizens comment, we can't say anything at all unless it's a compliment or thank you or something like that. Mm-hmm. But if they speak during the agenda, they're a target. Mm-hmm. You speak, we can speak back in agenda.
Well, if somebody in the agenda session comes and Bill Aches about the budget, I'm sure you can remind them of all the opportunities they could have availed themselves of.
Absolutely.
Get this done. I mean,
we overkill getting the message about council meetings.
Mm-hmm. I believe it, and because you don't want to go through that routine. But there's a couple of things in the budget. I have not seen a detailed budget, so I don't have any inside thoughts on it. But there's a couple areas that I'd be interested to hear how they were addressed, because I know that the finances are pretty tight.
Very tight. And we're not the only ones.
Oh, no. That's what I was referring to a minute ago, is that there's a lot of other communities are struggling like this too, particularly Dallas and Plano is the two I was thinking of. Sherry says, hey, by the way. She's just making sure that you're still around, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about the ads and talk about what's going on. As usual, another busy week, auto at our place. I'll be there Thursday with my Sunday school buddies trying to solve all the world's problems. You've been there once before.
I have.
You had to come by again. I mean, it's always a good visit. Your friend James Smelly will be there. And we get to listen to the world according to James. And he has opinions. I don't know if you ever noticed, but he has opinions.
And you will listen.
Oh, no.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, James.
Yeah. No, he's a good man. We've been friends for 30 years, and his wife was very, very kind to our family when my dad passed.
Too. Absolutely.
I don't know if I told you my dad passed 2 weeks ago.
I know. I was there when you got the...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so, and they were very helpful. And then we've had some other medical related issues, you might say. And Kathy was very, very kind and helping. So there you go. That's what I like about these small towns. Also, Gina's Pizza, which I will remind you, a week from Thursday is going to be the North Texas Giving Day, and that's when we do the kind of the tag team with all the various groups that are going to be around that day. You got to come by and drop by and just say, hey. I mean, it's a very moving experience. I tell you the truth, because you watch these ladies work together, and and they're all struggling to try to keep their things afloat. They're always constantly fundraising and all this, but they have zero competitive nature between them.
They really work together.
Yeah.
I know stories about Next Step and Harvest House and how they work together to take some of the needs of these young mothers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy Eight.
So far, I have about 5 groups that have said they're going to be there. And I'll probably get about 9 total when it's all said and done. And they'll just kind of rotate in and out. And this will be Josh's first remote, so we're going to be putting him to the test. You up for it, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
No problem, huh?
It's a piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Okay, let's hope.
There'd be a neat before and after on him.
Well, yeah, but last year was really, really great because afterwards, Allard was there, and he and I and Taylor and a couple of Camille was there, and we were all sharing some food and whatnot. And it was just a great day. And so Gina's Pizza, not only just for that day, but for all the days, it's a great deal. And if you just want to drop by and see it, come on by, because they'll be open for business. There'll be other people there besides just us. So there you are. Also, thank you to John over at Old Pro Roofing, 817-734-2756. I'll say that again since I butchered it. 817-734-2756. Looking at the forecast, we've got about 10 days of clear skies. This is the time to get him out there to inspect a roof, because in October, November, December, when the bad weather hits, and then maybe we'll get an ice storm in February and all this other stuff, you need to know your roof is in good shape, because the insurance companies can be pretty difficult about if
they've gotten worse too.
Yeah, old damage and all this stuff. Oh, that was last year. You should have come. Basically, if you have damage right now and you haven't reported it, they're going to be really difficult about fixing your roof or whatever else you need.
I know.
It's really getting tough. And so you need somebody like John there to help you through all that hair pulling and carrying on. And he'll tell you some agencies are better, or some companies are better than others. I have Texas Farm Bureau. They treated me great a year ago summer when I had a water leak and all that stuff, but not everybody is as cooperative as them. Also, our friend Jeff Kelly, 817-781-0546 with the Wethington Agency, or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. I don't know if things are slowing down, but they're not booming quite as much as they used to. So you're going to need somebody that's a professional if you're buying or selling, because it's tough.
The market's off right now.
Yeah, well, my mom has been trying to sell their older house for 9 months, 10 months now in Corsicana. All right, and it's a nice house, but it's just hard.
It wasn't that long ago when people were moving from out of state that had a pocket full of money.
Mm-hmm.
That was buying houses online, sight unseen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were jacking the price up. That's one of the big problems we have with our property valuations. They're not worth what they paid for them then.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just, I think also it led people to think that they could get more money for their house than they really can. And so you need to have somebody that knows what they're doing, like Jeff, because you think, well, this is a great house. I'm going to sell it for $500 million. Well, let's bring you back down to earth. And this is what really, and if you want to sell it, this is what you need to do to it. You need to get rid of the carpet or whatever, that kind of thing. So he's a professional that can help you with that.
Good.
Also, Tiffany Jane over at Local Life. You should have gotten your magazine by now. I know on October 18th, I think they're doing that Harvest Moon Lantern thing over at, at the Windmillers. Yeah, and so it's going to be lots of fun. So you can check into that. I'm going to try to get some more information from her sometime this week. And I think we have some nonprofit business to do. Yeah, Next Step Women's Center on October 9th has their big gala. You're going to be out of town for that, aren't you? Is that what I understand? Yeah, I asked you about that last time, October 9th. Well, anyway, I know
we've got a trip being planned. I don't know. Nancy hadn't told me when we're leaving yet.
When you walk home and your bags are packed, that's when you're leaving, right?
Well, that or something else.
Yeah. Well, if your bags are packed and they're on the inside of the house, that's good. If they're packed and they're on the front step, that's not good. Okay,
you sound like a professional. Yeah.
Well, it's 38 years. You learn a few things. But no, this is their big gala down at the Doubletree down on Alta Mesa, and it's they're going to have a speaker, and they're going to have. Well, it's always a good meal, and it's some nice people. So they need to know if you're coming, though. There's no cost to go. Now there will be an ask, as you might expect, but if you need to have tickets, so I already got mine, and so contact them, go online, get on the QR code, let them know you're coming. Also, same thing with Burleson Opportunity Fund. I know this is something close to your heart as well, since we're both on that committee. That's going to be also on the sec, but this will be breakfast, so you can have two opportunities to really support your neighbors. Burleson Opportunity Fund provides scholarships to Hill College for people in the BISD region. Even if you didn't go to Burleson High or Centennial High, if you homeschooled, you're still eligible. So Burleson Opportunity Fund will help you get through the first year of college. And I've taught there's many years, and I can't tell you how many BOF kids I taught and how for many of them, that was the only way they would get through. The only way they get through, because they didn't have the wherewithal otherwise. So it's a great opportunity, and so this is our big fundraiser. So come on board. I think there's one more. Oh yeah, the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, they're going to have their car show. Okay, so if you want to bring your old car to show off, contact them. I think there's a small fee for that, but it's going to be over at Old South from 4 to 8. I love old cars.
I do too.
They always are a big attraction.
You watch the car shows on TV?
Well, when my dad was around, we did. Yeah,
It is amazing to see what they do.
There were, I go over there and we'd watch. Or if you come over and, I'll put it on my TV, and I forget the name of it, but it was a car auction kind of thing, and Mecom or something like that. Mecoms, yeah. And they, these beautiful cars that come through, and, that was great. And, I know Lisa Schwartz does it for her City on the Hill, and that's always one of the biggest attractions and you go to a parade, any parade, Christmas parade, 4th of July parade, and they bring these old cars out. That gets a lot of attention. Oh, yeah.
I love old trucks.
There's a guy in our neighborhood that has like a truck from the 30s that's beautifully done. So it's nice. But anyway, back to the business. What the vast listening audience is breathlessly anticipating. Let's talk about the city. I haven't read the budget. I mean, I got a general glance at it, but I'm not an expert in it and all this. But I do know from our conversations, you've had to really tighten the belt.
We did.
What areas were the most tightened, shall we say?
We reduced the capital improvement plan.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those projects got not cut because they're needed, but they have been put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
We have reduced our city staff by 13% across the board.
Really? That's unfortunate.
Yes, we have employees doing double duty, try to get through. And let's get something straight.
Yeah.
The economy is going to level out.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's going to level out. Hopefully, Johnson County will get their act together on the property valuations.
Right.
There's a lot of people that's not paying their fair share, and that's an issue. And the board that was put in has not been aggressive of getting the problem fixed.
When you say not their fair share, you're not saying that they're doing it by illegal means. They're just the way
I'm not
it's
going
being,
there, but I'm not happy with the situation.
Well, but the way it's being applied is unequal. That's what I've always gotten is the way the CAD is done is like they're not applying it as it should be. Not so much that people are skipping out on their legal bill, but their legal bill has not been applied as it should be. That's the conversation I've been hearing and reading about for several months now. Is that more or less the conversation?
No.
Okay, well then I'm wrong then, huh? I guess
and it might be because I'm not in the inner workings of this, but what we have found out is, boy, this is tiptoeing around.
Well, you don't have to go there if you don't need to, because
the thing about it is there is properties out all through Johnson County that are not valued correctly.
That's what I was getting at.
And some of them have ties to the board, the CAD board, or to the ISD council members. And this is a Greg Cooper. You know Coop.
Oh, yeah.
He is a bulldog on pulling this stuff up.
Yes, he is.
And now this is being brought to bear to the CAD board, and they're dealing with it. I don't know how they're dealing with it, but they're not moving very fast.
Well, what I was trying to get around is it's not individuals that are scamming the system. It's just that there's an unequal application of property tax assessments. And that's what I've been hearing for a year now, not just on our conversations, but from other people as well.
I wish I could say more that I know.
I know.
But this is a problem that's going to get fixed sooner or later. But it's just not going fast enough for me.
I've talked to 3 or 4 people in the real estate business, and they've said the same things. That they say that the application is not universal, as opposed, and so I want to put the burden on the CAD, not on individuals that are,
Okay, so tell me the difference. You got market, and remember back in the day when it was houses were valued by comp. What did this house of similar size sell for?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the market value of which the house shows its worth by selling in the assessed value?
That I can't answer because I do.
I have asked that, and I have not got a question or an answer to what. It's frustrating.
It is. I never have got an answer to that either because what you could sell it at market value is much higher than the assessed value, and I mean, if I don't know what my assessed value is as of today, but I do know in the past I said there's no chance in the world I would sell the house for that much. You know, I would take a loss practically. So I don't understand it. Sherry Scott says several CAD board members are up in a few months. The tax and entities need to nominate responsible citizens to replace these individuals.
That woman's dead on.
Yeah.
Dead on. We had somebody that we wanted on the CAD board, and some way or another they didn't get on there. Mm-hmm. And that's an issue for us right now. You're right, Sherry. There should have been common sense from day one when we got the board on that we wanted a while back, and turned out one of them did not stand up for what we thought he would.
What are the qualifications to be on this CAD board? This is not an open election.
I'm not sure. I think you got to be breathing.
Okay, that's all right. So you don't have to be like a tax expert of any kind.
No.
And Sandy Mason says, I'm all for making property taxes equal for all owners as long as our seniors and disabled veterans not hurt in the process. There needs to be a simpler way for 65 and over and disabled vets to appeal their taxes. Now, I'm not familiar with this situation just yet. I'll be 65 in about 18 months. So I'll find out then. Oh, by the way, on a side note, Sandy's going to be on next week. For the American Legion, we're going to talk about parks and wildlife programs they deal with. But no, I have heard what he has said from older friends of mine. I said, trying to sometimes get the attention of the tax and entities when you turn 65 could be a chore.
I'm not to say how much, but I'm over 65. Okay.
A couple of years.
And one of the things that the state did, I was already frozen on my property tax, but I got a deduction. I don't know how that benefited anybody. I don't feel like I should have got a deduction. I'm not going to turn it down, obviously.
Well, no one does.
When you do that, veterans, especially disabled veterans, don't pay any property tax.
Right.
As per Greg Cooper. Do we need to help them more? Absolutely. We're working on a nonprofit right now that's going to be for our older people, our veterans, all of these. There's 4 categories that I'm wanting to announce in the near future.
I know where you can announce it too. I know exactly the platform. Yeah, I just want
in Fort Worth.
Oh, dang it! All right, fine.
No, I'm joking.
Right.
I will let you know. Okay.
All righty.
But Sanford, I understand, and I agree with you 100%. I get emails from people that are moving here from out of state that other towns up north have low income situations. We don't have that here. It's expensive. I know that Austin spent $7 million on a hotel, refurbished it, and they started putting people in there for the homeless. And now it's turned into a dump, a brothel, and a drug house.
Yeah. I read that same thing.
There's a lot of moving parts in this, and if you got any ideas, I want to hear them. I really do. I'm honest about that.
Well, when you brought up what Austin did, I noticed that the urban problems that we always see in big cities, they're coming down here too. Okay, we're not going to be immune to what goes on in some of the big cities.
Fort Worth is already at our doorstep.
Yeah. We're not going to be like there's not some wall or some sort of force field barrier to keep that because it's coming. And I went to Dallas last Wednesday, and I was amazed at how many homeless I saw. I mean, I've everybody sees them when in the past, but I was amazed how many. And all we could discuss it on another time, but
it's coming.
Yeah, it was like almost on every block, and and almost every corner there was somebody with a sign, and so I guess that's the next issue we have to deal with. On that homeless, I've heard people say, "Well, we ought to have a place for them to live." And I say, yeah, that makes sense, but, and then what you just described.
Let me tell you this story, okay?
Yeah.
When I was on the show one time, a while back, on the way here, I got a deal about someone at Whataburger bought a homeless guy a meal. That's great. And when I was on the show, I said, I believe in helping people out, but you got to be careful about buying them a meal, because if that place becomes a target for buying meals, you're going to get more people in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got beat up over that.
I remember that. I remember who was doing the beating. So,
and they called me up, and they were friends of mine. He says, we need to talk about this. Said, you were disparaging to a homeless. I said, I didn't mean to be. I really didn't. That's just the fact. So I went out to their house and sat down with them and talked, and I said, I got a great idea. Okay? The land next door to you is for sale. I will buy that land, and I bet you I can get people to put up small houses on it. It's out in the country.
Yeah.
City has nothing to say about it. Well, I don't want it next to me.
Yeah, I know. It's
So
always
the
an issue.
deal is when you pull up and you see somebody doing this, the conversations that I've had with a bunch of this, they want to be homeless. They don't want to be part of society. That is their choice. A lot of them have mental health problems.
It's hard.
Military is 5% of the homeless.
Yeah.
They don't even want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's issues. The Tarrant Homeless Commission, I was going to some of their meetings for a while, and they were building these homes for the homeless, and they're all totally trashed out right now.
Yeah. It's hard because, you want to respond in a humane manner.
But how?
I know. But you and I both go to church, both Christian men. We know what the commandments are, what as Christian men we should be doing. But what is the answer to that? It's very difficult because
let me tell you somebody up on that screen right now that has got the biggest heart in the world, and that's Sherry Scott.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lady who, out of no fault of her own, lost her husband. The daughter kicked her out of the house. It was a common law marriage. Kicked her out of the house, was living in a car. And Sherry stepped up, got a lot of things done for her. I helped a little bit, nothing like Sherry. But those are the ones that needs help. But how do you help them?
Well,
I mean, we feed them. We take care of them. We have a harvest house. Crazy 8 can only handle so many people. They're full right now because we got another situation we're trying to help out on. It's just very, very limited of the possibilities where you can help somebody out, and it be long term, not a patch on the situation, but something long term.
I'm more involved with Promises community as well as Harvard House.
That's a great bunch.
It really is. It's a good bunch, and that's since it's part of my church, and I have 3 of my fellow Sunday school members or volunteers there. I hear more about that. Of course, Amber Case is doing a fantastic job at Harvest House, and she'll be there at that little get together next week. They struggle with the same question because you basically have certain rules to follow. And it isn't like, people might criticize them. How come you can't give them more? Well, if you give this person more, you might have to give that person less and that kind of thing. And they have rules about, both those institutions have rules about whom they can help, what they can help with, how often they can help.
Because they've learned.
They've learned. Oh, yeah.
They've been through it. It's not like they're not guessing about what the possibilities are. They've lived through these possibilities.
Yeah. Jennifer Woods, when she was with Harvest House, she and I would talk a little bit. And Elizabeth Becker over at House of Hope, they have the same experience. They say for every 99 they help, legitimately, there's always one that's scamming the system. And that hurts the whole system. And
how do you vet them?
Well, they vet them as best they can. If they want certain types of assistance, they vet them as best they can.
You can't find them.
Well,
they become... They learn the system, and they know who does what, and they play that system.
Most of I don't want to be held strictly to this, but I do know that if you have no permanent, or not even a permanent, even temporary residence, it's harder to help them, and they may not be able to do much for you. I mean, it's not so much that, but if you're you living in a car because of a temporary situation, they'll help you. But if it's like you're under a bridge, and that's what you've chosen to do, they say, we're going to send you to somewhere else that is going to deal with this problem other than just here's a temporary handout. and it's that kind of thing. You know, what they tell me also, and this is kind of sad, is that a large majority of the people that they go to Harvest House or go to Promises or go to House of Hope have jobs. Okay, but they're, hourly jobs. Sometimes their hours get cut. Sometimes they have an expense they can't handle, a car repair, which dang is getting expensive. And all these things, that's what they deal with more than people on the side of the road with a sign. I know Promises doesn't deal with that very often. They deal mostly with people that are either temporarily displaced or are working, but they had a medical bill. Believe me, I got a medical bill last week, and it's like, that's a pretty expensive hotel I just spent time in, apparently. But anyway, that's a problem the city has to deal with. But
there was a situation in Fort Worth, family of 4. He had a job, and they was living in a car. So why? Well, because the rent went up to a point where they couldn't afford it.
Right.
Utilities went up. They got hit from every side in the world. And that's a product of the economy.
Right.
Okay. This guy in New York that wants to raise up the minimum wage to $30 an hour.
That mayoral candidate, Mamdani?
Governor. No, mayor. Yeah, mayor.
Mayor. Yeah, he's mayoral candidate.
Yeah. And I have you ever spent any time doing economics?
No, he's a lifelong politician. He's
a socialist.
Yeah, by his own definition, and that's what he calls himself, not something we call him. Zoran Mamdani is his name. I've been following that because a lot of national politics are watching this and see will he be successful or not, and if he is, will he be successful in getting what he wants done to New York and all this other stuff. It's
there's companies already saying I'm leaving.
Yeah.
If he gets elected, we're out of here.
Well, that's why they're coming to Texas. There's the same reason why they're leaving California. And they come here because they want to be able to do business. They want to be able to not have to deal with all the other stuff that goes on, politically in California or socially in California, the schools and all that. And they they come into these red states because they just want to live in peace. Jackie Jones says the homeless problem is growing on the north side of Burleson. I went to the store this morning, and one of them was sleeping on the side of the store. McAllister Road also has a lot of them. That's true. McAllister and 1187. I know that's Fort Worth, but
no, you're right, Jackie.
Yeah, but it's affecting Burleson citizens.
I understand there's an encampment behind Hughley. And one of the stories that I heard from a pretty good source is the drug dealers hide amongst the homeless encampments. They dress like them. They give them a little bit of free drugs, keep them there, the whole thing. I hadn't seen it. I just been told about it. And there's not much you can do about it.
Well, as far as within y'all's jurisdiction, I don't know of any of these stories. I have heard.
And McAllister is Fort Worth.
Yeah, right. But I've heard it within the Burleson jurisdiction. The cops are always having to keep an eye out over by Chisenhall Park because back in the woods, they keep an eye on that. But as far as like in the main area of population, like Wilshire, Renfro neighborhoods, I haven't heard much about that. But I do know that in that wooded area, they always keep an eye out. And they found a tent here and a tent there. But as far as like a big population, not yet, which is a good thing. I think that it has more to do with the quality of the policing we have, that they don't ignore these things. Because a lot of communities ignore it.
Well, let's talk about the budget.
Okay, that's where I was going to get back to on the budget because we got sidetracked. But this is what the people want to talk about. That's what I
understand.
Yeah, that's
our police department is really, really thin in the fact that I'll go down this on the budget side of it. We're a part of a peer group of towns that are similar to the size of us. Okay. And that group of 10 rates the payrolls
one more item. Sherry says there are several staying in their cars at Bailey Lake and Warren Park.
Yeah, and the library. We've seen them at the library too. So
Okay.
this peer group rates payroll of police officers or fire. It's so fluid right now because of the competition between towns that we're like at number 2 1 month, and then we're at number 8. The bigger towns are also trying to hire a police department or personnel. So it's a constant battle all the time to be at a pay scale to keep your officers. And our officers are pretty loyal, too. I got to say that. Our firefighters, but they have families to hire. One of the things that I did when I first came in, we're doing more lateral moves from other police departments. So we kind of headhunt, too, but the big cities pay more than we do.
Sure.
Starting salary for a police officer now is very, very good. A lot of benefits, but you have to. So I know speeding is a problem.
Really? Yeah. I
Oh
always
my gosh, it's awful.
Speeding in Burleson? Where are they doing it? Because every time I go anywhere, I get
Step
behind.
outside and listen.
Well, I guess so. But every time I'm driving down Renfro, I'll get behind some old man in a pickup. Sorry. Anyway, but I get.
You're talking about me, aren't you?
No, I'm talking about no. It just the traffic is heavier, and then there's all these stoplights, and I'm like, how can he speed? It's like I can get a good head of steam up.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Oh, it depends on the day. Like tomorrow, I'll be getting up pretty early, and
What's
Wednesday,
pretty early? 10?
No, I wish. No, about a little before 7. I have to get to
It
Dallas.
is so frustrating on 35, 174, people getting to work, that they're pulling off of 174 and going through the neighborhoods,
I guess so.
and they're hooking it, and they're getting it. We've had some major accidents on 35 the last couple of days.
Running red lights is also a huge issue.
Oh, it's awful.
You know,
I've seen them running stop signs on Hurst Road off of Renfro.
yeah.
It's getting ridiculous, and it's going to be brought up in council meetings. I hope that the fact that we got to do something, we got to get some people in here
We'll see.
that is strictly for traffic. The municipal court part, Amanda, used to have cars that were dedicated strictly to traffic. And I don't know why they quit doing that, but that might be something we need to bring back. It is ridiculous at how people are driving.
Well, it's just, I guess, where I live, to get to town, I have to go through Renfro. It's 2-lane road, and you're only going to go as fast as the person 4 cars in front of you is. And so I guess I never really realized how much speeding is a problem, because I'm always, coming on 2 lanes, and I get in on Wilshire, and we know how jammed up that can get, particularly in the afternoons. In fact, from when I try to get from where I live to, say, HEB, I'd take 714 and, go around and all that other stuff, and, buy over by Russell Art Farm and all that to try to avoid the traffic. And because I think it's so heavy. I just don't, I remember I was joking with Colin Gregory about this, about how y'all must not give speeding tickets because nobody can get going fast enough before you have to slow down. And he was saying, no, you would be surprised. And I guess I am. Like what you're telling me here is...
It's a problem. But go back to the old man on Renfro driving 20 miles an hour. You didn't get my license plate number.
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So anyway, that wasn't me.
No, I'm sure you...
The problem you got is the difference between the speeds. You got somebody that does drive 10 miles under the speed limit, and then you got someone driving 10 miles over the speed limit. The reaction time in that is ridiculous, especially if you don't realize someone's going real slow. So you get all these different scenarios. There was a bus on Summercrest and Wilshire laying on its side because a Suburban T-boned it. How fast were they going?
It must have been moving if it knocked a bus over.
That was about a year or so ago. I remember going out there and seeing it myself.
Yeah.
But these are situations that telephones are a real problem.
Texting and whatnot, yeah.
Not paying attention to your driving.
Yeah. I've deal with that when I was dealing with a lot of high school kids, because that was a real problem for them. And we say, you really got to be careful, because if you're messing around on your phone and you ram into somebody,
you're it.
Yeah, you're going to have a real problem. And so we talk about that in school, but, I don't know. What do we know? We're just a bunch of old coots. But as far as the traffic, I learned something today because I really didn't think. I thought the biggest problem in traffic was too much of it, not dangerous driving or speeding. So.
Well, it's still a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen the traffic, and we're trying to deal with it right now, but you're at the mercy of TxDOT right now.
Right. Saturdays particularly seem to be more of an issue. I was over at HEB Saturday, or in that area. I don't know if I was actually going to the store, but it was on Wilshire and John Jones. And the line coming in from Cleburne and Joshua was like 3 lights long. I'll put it that way.
I know.
And it was like.
Well, 35 had a wreck that went all the way from around 1187 all the way halfway to 917. I mean, it was blocked in the morning. And I saw that 2 times during the week.
Well, and then so to kind of bring it back to the budget issue, this is the kind of thing you have to deal with, but you don't have the wherewithal just to say, okay, let's hire 5 more traffic cops. It doesn't work that way, does it?
You got to have the money to pay for them. And you got to remember, that's a repetitive dollar amount, too. That's an M&O.
Burleson has a bad driver page on Facebook. Well, okay. Whether they put their license plates on it, something like that.
Sounds like she's calling me a bad driver.
The reason I'm a good driver, I like to think I'm a good driver because I can't afford the tickets. But I got one here in Crowley a couple of years ago for doing like 7 or 8 miles over the speed limit. I mean, you don't speed in Crowley. And,
See, we don't have that reputation.
No, you don't.
We don't. And I think tickets ought to be more expensive. Well, I do.
Mine was $180, and they cut me some slack because I was paying cash.
No, it ought to be. It ought to, and we don't go and tell the kids, this is what it's going to cost you if you get a ticket. Because parents are paying for the insurance.
Yeah.
There needs to be accountability on this when you step out of line. This is getting bad.
So this is one of the issues you want to address, but are limited in how you can address it. And
we've been all over the place.
Yeah, we are. Well, good. No, it's good. This is what's on the minds of the citizens, so to speak. I mean, we could talk about tax rates and stuff, and that's all great. But if the first thing they're thinking of when you have an opportunity to talk is traffic issues or street issues, whatever, it
all goes back to the budget.
Goes back to the budget. Yeah.
Every bit of it goes back to the budget. We have had an increase in our expenses in 1 year of over 20%. I mean, imagine what that'd be like at your household.
Oh, there's some things have gone up. My grocery bill.
But everything across the board would go up. Where would you be at?
Or insurance bills and blah, blah, blah.
So we're having to deal with that. And so we've cut back a lot. There's some things that we got to move forward with. Roads, repairs. I mean, that has to be done.
There's a road that I was wondering about. Oh, and there's Brandon. Tie speeding tickets to an individual's income like they do in Finland. Okay, Brandon.
You would never get that past, Brandon. You know that. Well, you're kind of throwing us under the bus because we probably agree with you.
Yeah, well, he's, he can't help himself.
That means the government has to know exactly how much you make.
Well,
and does that count with no tax on tips?
I don't know. But there's a stretch of road that I've always wondered how they're going to deal with it, and that's that right off of Hidden Creek. They're building a new church right by the fire station. And Ron Dobson, and
Heights,
and the Heights Church, and how that road can't sustain the kind of traffic that church is going to generate. I mean, and I guess that's the kind of thing you have to do.
Okay, so let's go down another road here. Yeah. They're putting in Joshua ISD is putting in a school over by the new TSC off the road, and the city has to put the road in. Yeah, that's a non-generating road.
Yeah.
Because there won't be any development for it. There will be sooner or later, but not right now. That's another expense, though, that we got to pick up for Joshua ISD.
That's the deal. Joshua ISD and Burleson City Limits.
Isn't that weird?
It is. I talked to Joshua ISD last Friday, and they're going to be regular guests on the show during the school year. And I don't know who's going to be the first guest. I talked to their public relations guy, if you want to call him that. And he'll send me a list of people that they want, have on the show about. we don't do it in December and we don't do it in May because end of semester is not a good time for anybody, but we'll do it about 4 to 5 times this year. And we were talking about these very same issues, about how much overlap between the two entities are and the issues it causes each other. And it's really funny because some of the same people that you may see in your city council meetings giving you a piece of their mind, they see at their school board meetings giving a piece of their mind. So it's just like y'all are sharing some of these people.
I guess the most frustrating thing that I've got right now, and this happened at church yesterday, is how upset somebody gets about something, but they never call me and talk about it.
Do you want everybody that has an issue to call you? That's
Certainly.
That's a lot of phone calls. I mean, well, I take that back. I mean, it isn't like the crowd.
Okay, so which takes longer? Answering an email back and forth for a week or a 10-minute phone call?
Oh, obviously the phone call, because I've emailed you and you've always called me back, and that's always been a priority of your tenure.
I want your phone call. You send me a phone number. I had one today that was pretty cool. A guy named Cody sent an email. I'm trying to remember what it was about. And on the email to council members, it's got a place for your phone number. So I called him, and we got to talking a little bit. And Cody said, "Well, what's your name?" And I said, "Well, I'm Chris Fletcher." The mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who'd you think he was talking to? He just started going out. You actually call me, and the whole yes, I call. The bottom line is, it's easier on me to talk to you than to try to. I can't read your reaction in an email.
Yeah.
But the main thing about it is, people that are upset on an email, if they will talk to me, at least they'll understand why we're doing it. And they're not happy, but at least they understand that we don't have a choice.
Well, the circle I run with, I'll put it that way, most people I know, when they have issues, it's the kind of issues that every city faces, not just Burleson.
Absolutely.
All right. And so they're not like personalizing it. In other words, they don't say the mayor or the council or that it's their fault. The problems that they talk about are the kind of problems that everybody in every community talks about. And so I don't hear personalized criticism of the council or yourself very often. I hear, as far as the school board, usually it's on a campus level if I hear criticisms, not on a global.
I remember when people were going after the school board, but they were getting blamed for somebody else's decision.
Well,
wasn't it something like that?
Oh, that's happened several times where with the schools, they get blamed for stuff that the state mandates from them, and they don't have any choice in the matter. And I saw that all throughout my teaching career. I still see it now, where the state says do X, and we haven't even touched that yet. But they do say do X, and then the people complain. And then, it's Sherry. I'm sure Sherry hears people complain about the city from Larry.
Okay, Sherry just wrote, "I do."
What she meant, she hears criticism of the city council. But she,
okay. Is that? But so you and Sherry's got this mental thing going, huh?
She's probably
mental thing.
Must be, yeah.
I just told Brad Allard this mental.
I'm mental. Yeah, that's fine. I've been called worse. But Robin called me worse this morning. I'm used to it.
All right. But I know. I get used to it too. Okay.
Yeah, but as far as you got me off track. As far as other communities, they face this problem worse. I was reading in the paper yesterday about Plano and Dallas both having to raise their taxes. And I grew up in Plano, and I could tell you taxes ain't cheap. And so they're going to hear about it. Dallas is like the first time they've done it in a long time. And so there's a lot of other communities. There are other communities that are cutting their taxes because they're growing so much. But, I think like McKinney's going to cut their taxes. But I'm thinking there's also the fact that property values are so high in McKinney, it's hard to live there.
There was a town around Austin or something that didn't have any property tax. So I got to looking at it. They have entertainment venues that offsets it. Sales tax is a big deal. I mean, it really is. I tried to get the sales tax raised 2 cents. The senator was for it. And then I got a call saying everybody liked the idea, but nobody would vote for it because it looked like he was raising taxes. The thing about it is, I can reduce property taxes by getting 2 cents, and I'm hooking up with another council member. Next year, I want to start the campaign to get that 2 cents. We have, when you use a sales tax for your revenue, you have a choice. And remember, a lot of the food in grocery stores is tax-free.
Right.
When you buy a car, the city doesn't get hardly anything off the sale of that car. But when you look at Burleson, people driving through here, our town of 57,000 has a sales tax equal to that of 350,000. People are stopping here and eating in our restaurants and stuff. Has learned how to use Google Maps to get business off of 35. I mean, that's 2 cents on sales tax. That would have been $16 million for Burleson that we could have reduced the property tax rate.
Or hired more cops.
It'd be our choice.
Or both, maybe.
You could do both with that.
Yeah.
I talked to the mayor of Joshua, and I told him my idea, and he said, "Well, I don't like that. I don't like that." And then on a Thursday night, he called me up and said, "That's $900,000." And I said, "Well, what's your public safety budget?" And he said, $1 million. He said, "So you could totally pay for your public safety, your fire and police, by what you would collect on your historic sales tax."
And that's how you would approach it, right? It said if you raise the tax, we could do X, Y, and Z with the money, not,
Okay, but you go through these issues. That would be up to the city council. That's where your city council has to be. If you're behind on everything, are you going to eat all that money up to do that and still have high property tax? I would hope not. Our council wouldn't do it. We would be mindful of what's going on. But the other thing, the city manager says that your sales tax is the most volatile source of money that you've got. Okay, go in and say that you can use 30% of that 2% for payments to a bond, because you have never dropped below 40% on the sales tax. If you drop that much, the whole country is going to hell in a handbasket. Okay? You got bigger fish to fry than paying your bond payment. But you could leverage that dollar amount, leave that other cash available to you to spend as you need it instead of having to budget it. Yeah, you just get more money than you expected. But you'd always have that payment amount.
Does the city have the authority to do that? Because I know the state has taken more and more control away from the city.
This is a state deal. They have to have, it has to pass Congress to get the 2 cents.
But
the legislature.
Okay.
It has to pass there. And then that would be like a 4A or 4B, where we have economic development and parks. This would be another type in the cities. And some people say, well, that's going to raise prices. It's 2 cents on a dollar, $2 on a $100 invoice. Okay, so let me finish this. If the city doesn't want to pay that, they don't have to approve it. It's their choice. I remember when I first went in business in 85, 86, every time we hung garage doors outside of town, we had to pay that town the sales tax. Okay? The cap was 8 1/4, but there was towns that was at 6 1/4. That all goes to the state. State gets their money first.
Of course.
And it had all these different ranges, and we was in 20, 30 different towns. So we had to read our tax sheet going to the state, had to reflect every town and allocate that out and let them know how to divide the money up for them. But you think about this. The majority of the money that the state lives on is 6 1/4%. And they've had the money to build walls and barriers and pay extra this, pay extra that. That's how important it is. The other thing we got is we've got 7 World Cup games coming to the Metroplex just in Fort Worth. Okay, there's actually more than that.
It's like, I think there's 9 total at AT&T.
I think so.
Yeah.
Every game is equal to that of one of our Super Bowls.
Yep.
That's sales tax.
Yeah. Well, so this sales tax proposal has to be done statewide. It's not some Burleson or Joshua or anybody else.
It has to be approved statewide and available to a town to vote on it.
Okay, now I got
that portion. If they had 2 cents, that runs up to 10 1/4. Okay, but we'd have to have an election to approve the 1 cent or 2 cent increase.
You think there would be a lot of pushback?
Or we could just do 1 cent.
Yeah. Would you get a lot of pushback, you think, from the community?
Depends on the communication.
Yeah.
It depends on how you sell it, how it is, the numbers that you can represent, and what it would do for property tax rates.
But this is something that you say the legislature has to approve, but they're not going to be in session for another 18 months.
Well, that's fine. That means we got to get the word out. And I'm fixing, I've got several mayors we're going to start lobbying on this thing and been on the road.
And fortunately, from what I understand, that bill that would prevent certain lobbying done by cities did not pass the special session. But I know Patrick wants to see it happen. That's the problem, and that's another thing I was going to ask you about. And we're running close on time, but I still want to get it in. One of the articles I read yesterday was by a guy named Glenn Rogers, who was the rep for Weatherford in the state legislature, and he got bounced in the primaries because the same reason Dwayne Burns did, because of the voucher opposition by that group out in West Texas with all that money. And that to me is the most powerful obstacle in getting things done in this state, because, if he doesn't want sales tax, Dan Patrick doesn't want sales tax or increases, and that's going to be the end of the conversation because he runs the Senate without.
That's the reason we've got to start prepping this now. We have to make it a popular thing with the citizens, and I'm not talking about just Burleson. I'm talking the whole state.
What do you think Helen Kerwin will do?
I've got a meeting with her tomorrow.
Okay, well then I'd be interested.
And Craig Hundley, and somebody else.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that
still up there. Yeah, there she is.
Patrick is got that Senate so.
And including
we have a semifinal game.
There's semifinal games before.
No, there's all the other games are like in the first round games. Each of these groups, there's like 8 groups, and they play each other, and then you have the quarterfinals, and then you have the knockout round, as they call it, and then you have the quarters.
This is a lot of sales tax.
Right. And semifinal, though, would be I think there's one here and maybe one in L.A., and then they had the final in New York City about 5 days after the semifinal. A semifinal, it'd be like having a conference championship game here with the Cowboys, which they haven't been in the last 30 years, and I don't think we need to worry about it this year.
I don't know.
See, Brandon got it going on, okay? Yeah, I try to explain it that way.
I knew what those numbers
meant.
Well,
right now, I think there's going to be more than 32 teams, Brandon. I think there's going to be 48. But it'll get down to 16 teams, and then it's and then you get down to the quarterfinals with 8.
Bottom line, that's a lot of sales tax.
There's a lot of money on the table, and so, oh gosh, it's not just in America too. I mean, there's going to be games in Canada and Mexico, but there's going to be some serious money coming down because
all the hotels are already booking up.
Oh,
26.
Sure they are. 84, I thought this year. No, not yet. 48, 84 teams. Give me a break. But the thing about it is, we think the Super Bowl is a big deal, but and a lot of people overseas watch it.
Well, it is a big
but
deal,
not like this. Not like the World Cup.
Nothing like this.
There is no other event, sporting or otherwise, that concentrates the attention of people than the World Cup. And when I teach at DBU, have several Brazilian students, and even it's like it's genetic. Even if they're not even particularly big soccer fans, they are when this comes around, and so there you go. But anyway, I digress. My concern is not the proposal you're making. My concern is, will you be able to make it work? I like the idea of having enough money to pay for more cops, to take care of these traffic issues we're talking about, to help improve the streets, all this. And I'm not, there's certain aspects of the sales tax that you have to be careful about. I would not want to put on food like they do in Oklahoma. They tax your groceries.
I'm already saying we've already got an exemption on some food on staples.
Yeah, right. Staples and pharmaceuticals.
Not Coke, not soft drinks, nothing of that. But
no, but bread and cereal, I guess, certain types of cereal. But that I'd like it in one way, the other. But the part of me that's like just a little bit reluctant is we got to also make sure that it doesn't hurt lower income people as much, because sales taxes tend to it's a regressive tax in some ways, and so we got to make sure that these taxes are not.
So is a poor person going to go out and have $100 steak?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Somebody else is. So you're getting money from them, and it's yeah. But how do you give me another possibility?
No. I'm not pushing back on you. What I'm saying to you is that we got to make sure that the things that are taxed are not the stuff that lower income people depend on, like food. All right, which is, you say, well, we don't do that now. I don't want a politician to think there's some money on the table there.
See, that's the big problem right now. And if you look at historically of sales tax, they leave sales tax alone. What happened? You remember the Robin Hood plan?
Oh yeah, well, Lord, do I?
When ISDs were having to give money to the smaller districts. I don't want that to happen on this. I don't know how you can't muzzle a politician.
Well, Brandon says in Georgia, groceries are taxed at 3% as opposed to the rest of the sales tax at 6%. I would still stick with 0 on groceries. But
I think groceries some groceries are 0.
And not maybe, I don't know about Georgia, but I know in here the majority of the stuff you buy at H-E-B or any other grocery store is not taxed. Now, if you go and if you buy, beer, it's taxed. Coke is taxed, but staples aren't. And can of corn isn't taxed and that kind of thing. But as far as I'm in general support. I just want to make sure that this sales tax, A, doesn't increase any burdens whatsoever on lower income, and B, that it's not going to be seen as, by some cities, not ours, but some cities, as a way of just raising money for frivolous things. One of the things I like about
that's up to your council.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
right.
up to your council,
and that's where I was heading. Is like, I know where to find you if you were spending on frivolous things.
But say, if you pay attention to what the council is doing, that stands out like a sore thumb. You know what you're dealing with. But which would you rather have as far as your tax? Someone telling you what your property's worth, or your choice of buying it or not buying it?
I prefer the choice. No, that's no question. I prefer the choice. I just don't, like I was saying, though, is as long as this taxing, what we tax on with sales tax, is not going to have put an extra burden on lower income.
How do you do that?
Well, you can do it based on maybe what is taxed. Look, that's why groceries aren't taxed, because it's a larger portion of their income on is food bills and things like that.
Well, okay, give certain people a tax exemption deal. I don't know how that would fly, because everybody take advantage of it.
Oh, sure they would. They'd probably have certain lower income levels. I don't know.
And then the system falls apart.
Well, I don't know the details like you do. Okay, I
don't have all the details yet.
Okay, well,
this is all in the MC, and I'm sure a lot of people's going to have some ideas. I'm anxious to hear them.
Well, good, and they know where to find you. And that's why I like living in Burleson, because not only because you come on the show, Victoria does, Larry's been on here, and that kind of thing. But if I really wanted to get a hold of you, I know where to find you. And
it's not hard to do.
It's not hard to find at all.
Mayor at BurlesonTX.com.
Well, I'm just talking about just in the neighborhood. I mean, we encountered each other at the farmer's market. We encountered each other at city events. And
come up to me.
Yeah, right. And so it's not like you're hiding somewhere, or the rest of the council's hiding somewhere. I see them at Chamber of Commerce events a couple of times. And, so that's what I like about living in a community this size, is that
we're available.
You're available. And if you say, I got a bone to pick with you,
There's
Mayor.
nobody on this council that would try to avoid you or anything.
No, I don't think so.
There's not.
I could, some of them, like Phil, would probably enjoy it.
He's a talker.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's always, I've known him for 30-something years, and he's quite the character. In a good way. And don't take, I'm just saying he's not going to run and hide from you. That's for sure.
I know your time to go, but I'm going to tell you this.
Go ahead. I got a couple minutes for you.
Everybody, Burleson, it's a tough go right now, but we're going to get through this. This is going in the right direction. And when I ran, if I would have done something different, it would have been not dropped the rate as fast as I did. but we're not over the rate that we were in 2020.
You don't hear many people say that
Well, it's easy not to notice unless you're getting beat up. You don't realize it.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of people in public position try to deflect or avoid, and you pretty much have owned it about maybe if you could read the future better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, this would be a piece of cake if you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I appreciate you saying that because like I said, a lot of politicians would try to avoid the conversation altogether, but
I'll say something else.
You never have.
I'll say something else. There's a big push for term limits,
mm-hmm.
and I was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying there's not a need for term limits, but anybody that takes on being mayor or council member, you don't learn it in your first term.
No.
You get and I was blessed to have guys from the TRTC that really helped me out, other mayors. I was blessed with that. But when you elect a new mayor, make sure he's got the personality that wants to go out there and work for the city and not just sit there and take the name.
I am struggling not to ask you a question about.
Yes, I am.
You are running. Okay. You've already talked to Miss Nancy about this?
I got another nonprofit that I'm going to be good for the city.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was trying to get the executive board together, more than half of them said, "I'll do it if you'll run again."
So you are running again?
It sure sounds that way.
It sure sounds like that way to me. Well, good. Hey, you heard it here first. Well, probably. I bet Nancy knows by now.
Yeah, and she's on board.
Well, I do know that the last time you were elected, she was like, "This is it for you."
I was saying the same thing.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you're going to give it another 3 years, or God willing. Now, wait a minute. Now, one question: is this going to be in May or November? This election? It's going to be in May. Okay. I was afraid they would put them all on November, but they didn't get that passed to the legislature.
No, it did not.
Okay, so at least
they was trying to make it mandatory. Some
mm-hmm.
of the towns have gone to November,
mm-hmm.
and I can see the pros and the cons of it.
I like it in May. I really do. Now I understand about turnout and maybe it may be more affordable, but also I just think I would not want our local politics get it mixed up in state and national politics, and it's easy to do. They get a candidate and they're having to answer questions that really beyond his or her.
See, my election was in November.
Yeah. Oh well, that was because of COVID though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an exception. I would rather have it in May. Now, I believe there's going to be 3 other council positions open, and there's going to be 3 school board positions open. So this is going to be a very active spring, and I know where you can find the candidates right here in the neighborhood. Because that's a busy election season's busy time on this show.
Wear us out.
Well, that's all right. I don't see any dark clouds coming. I don't see any no rumblings about these issues going to be contentious. I don't see this election coming up as it's going to be like the last one, which is pretty appropriate. I don't see.
I've got an exceptional school council right now that's working together.
Yeah, I don't see this going to be contentious at all. I mean, it may have some politics in it, but I don't see it being ugly, which is a good thing. I think those days are gone or past for us.
I hope so.
Me too.
I can't lose another 20 pounds over that.
Yeah, I probably could, but anyway. Josh?
Yes, sir?
You going to vote?
I don't know if I can.
Do you live in Burleson?
I live in Fort Worth.
We'll move to Burleson then.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
I know
That's
my
easy.
parents will definitely be voting.
Okay, good.
And I'm pretty sure they're both voting for you, Mayor Fletcher, so it's all good.
Tell them thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, plus, vote early and vote often. That's our motto here. So throw up the community, if you would, community radio. This will be on tonight at 6 o'clock, so you can hear all about our rambling discussion. But actually, it's important because, I didn't come here thinking just the traffic issues would be. I thought we'd be talking about streets and repairs, one of it. I didn't realize.
Well, the traffic in the streets are the same. When you got someone speeding in a pothole that kind of slows traffic down after they hit it.
That's what I'm saying is that I learned something today, and I learned a few other things today, too. So we had community radio tonight. It's at 6 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock tomorrow. It's on TuneIn, Live 365, and I usually provide the links on Facebook. Tomorrow at noon, since I still got my DB schedule, I'm introducing a new business in town to the community. Her name is Stormy Barrett, and she has a business that helps you with, keeping your payroll, keeping your taxes straight, keeping your, all the bookkeeping done, stuff like that. She just started a new business, and she joined our BNI group, and I like to have new businesses that join our group on as guests to introduce them to the community. So she's going to be here.
Excellent.
Plus, she is very heavily involved in that show around Christmas time, The Promise. Okay. I don't know if you've seen that before.
In Glen Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's heavily involved in that.
We've gone to that. That's pretty incredible.
Well, she's like part of the crew that helps put that on. But mostly we're going to talk about her new business. She just started maybe a couple months ago. And that's what I like to provide for BNI friends.
Well, tell her good luck.
And, all right. I'll say that the mayor's going to shift all the city business to her. No, I'm not. Y'all don't use private contractors that often, do you? I didn't think so.
Not on that stuff.
No, I wouldn't think so.
That's in-house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow, and I hope you have a swell day.
Thank you very much.